Legend says that in the 16th century, a dark magician named Singya fell in love with Princess Ratnavati. When she rejected him, his dying breath unleashed a curse of black magic that doomed her entire city to ruin. That folklore transformed this site into what the internet widely calls India's most haunted place. But when you actually arrive, you aren't greeted by dark, gloomy shadows. You find a sprawling, sun-baked 16th century Rajput city. Yet the site is legally off-limits the moment it gets dark. The Archaeological Survey of India actively prohibits anyone from entering between sunset and sunrise. The government attributes this curfew to treacherous, uneven terrain and the very real threat of wild animals from the nearby tiger reserve. For the public, though, that sign is undeniable proof that the ghosts are real. The ghost stories pull thousands of curious travelers here, but that strict daytime curfew guarantees a massive collision between what you expect to experience and what actually happens on the ground. Getting here requires a detour. The ruins sit in rural Rajasthan, tucked into the Aravalli Hills, far off the heavily trodden Golden Triangle route between Delhi, Agra, and Jaipur. That forces a serious itinerary decision. Do you burn several hours driving for a supernatural thrill, or is this a logistical trap? To answer that, we break this down into a matrix comparing the internet's promise of paranormal activity against the actual practice of visiting. Enforced daylight hours completely kill the spooky atmosphere. However, that same restriction creates a remarkably intact archaeological experience. Visiting Bhangarh effectively tests how much physical and financial effort you are willing to spend for a specific historical reward. Let's look at the first scenario: the traveler who dedicates an entire day solely to hunt for ghosts based on the online lore. Because of the curfew, this traveler is forced to walk the grounds during peak daylight hours. Instead of eerie isolation, they share the bright, hot sunlight with noisy crowds of tourists. Even so, many visitors and locals report a genuine sense of dread and unease here. Science offers a clear reason for that: infrasound. This diagram illustrates how wind channeling through ancient stone corridors generates low-frequency sound waves, triggering an anxiety response in the body. Add in naturally occurring high electromagnetic fields, and the brain can generate hallucinations that perfectly mimic ghost sightings. The ghost hunter arrives expecting terror, but physically experiences nothing more than a hot, crowded walk through old stones. Chasing the myth leads to a low return on travel time, leaving the visitor with little more than a standard tour of a crowded ruin. Then there is the DIY explorer approach, travelers who ignore the ghosts entirely and show up strictly for the 16th century architecture. Pulling this off requires organizing train tickets to Dausa, negotiating with local cabs, and traversing highly uneven, completely unshaded terrain. The payoff is immense. You get unrestricted access to massive bazaars, royal palaces, and intricately carved structures, entirely free of overwhelming crowds. However, the physical toll is high. If you attempt this trek outside the optimal October to March window, the risk of severe heat exhaustion is a serious factor. The DIY route yields a highly authentic, unsanitized look at history, but you have to bring a high tolerance for physical discomfort and travel friction. Finally, there is the luxury approach, which leverages high-end regional heritage resorts like Aman Bagh or Neemrana. You pay a premium here specifically to outsource all the logistical friction. The resorts handle transport with private open-top deeps and provide expert local guides. This premium access places you inside the ruins at the first light of dawn for guided yoga on temple platforms, private meditation sessions, or catered picnics under banyan trees. This chart plots traveler effort against the actual impact of the visit. The DIY approach lands over in the high-effort, moderate-impact zone. By paying to remove the friction, the luxury approach lands squarely in the low-effort, maximum-impact quadrant. A higher financial investment transforms an exhausting, dusty ruin trek into an elite wellness experience, extracting absolute maximum value from the location. The historical record shows this city was abandoned due to severe famine and aggressive Mughal military expansion, rather than a magician's dying words. And yet, the ghost story has survived for centuries because it acts as world-class, entirely accidental public relations. That local folklore, combined with the government's official ban, actually protects these stones from nighttime vandals far more effectively than physical security guards ever could. The frustration visitors often feel at the site stems from expectations built on local legends rather than the physical reality of a daylight-only historical site. It is a sweeping masterpiece of Rajput architecture, perfectly hidden behind a viral campfire story. This flowchart breaks down exactly how to fit Bhangarh into your itinerary. If you are traveling solely for paranormal thrills, you must skip it. The daylight curfew will ruin the experience. If you are a history optimizer, go. Just accept the heavy logistics and visit during cooler winter months. If you are a luxury traveler, book a nearby heritage hotel to experience the ruins empty at dawn. Make your travel decisions based on the quality of the architecture and your own tolerance for friction. Leave the ghost stories to the internet.